What's up, fellow Magento lover? Joseph from SwiftOtter here, bringing you another knowledge bite. This one, we're going to dive into a very important best practice. These best practices will make your life easier, and this one specifically in relation to building out a multi-store website. So here in the United States, not quite as common, still usable and useful, but especially overseas in Europe, places where a merchant's going to be shipping or building websites in multiple languages, all going back through the same powerful backend that Adobe Commerce has, this becomes even more apparent and more important. Let's jump in and see what I am talking about here in this knowledge bite today. Follow along here. You are tasked with creating a new gallery image for an apparel company. They wish to show a fancy hover effect on to show the backside of a garment. You know, basically like if you're looking at the front side, like you're seeing me here, and then I guess I could turn around and back. You see a picture of the back, like you roll over it. It's a pretty common feature on what I would say is the nicer websites. They're coming to you asking for this feature. When I'm hovering over the product on a product list page, the PLP, to complicate things further, they use multiple themes on a website, all of which will need different image sizes. How would you configure this new image's size to be extensible through multiple themes? Now your head's probably buzzing with answers, and I hope it is. So we're going to dive in and figure out the answer for this. Again, using a bit of a process of intuition and research, we're going to come to the right answer. Take a look here. Option number 1, use the Etsy View XML file to create and extend a new image type. B, override and change sizing within the respective list HTML files. Or C, create a new store configuration. Use lock env to force the sizes per store view. So we have a couple of options here. You might have thought of some more, and if you did think of some more, please drop that in the comments here below. I would love to hear this. I do have a correct answer in mind. I don't go into these just like trying to figure something out on the fly, but there's a correct answer, I believe. But again, your comments, your questions here are always appreciated because maybe there's even a better way to do it. Let's take a look at each one of these and see what we would think. So the Etsy/view.xml file comes with Magento open source and Commerce as well. And basically it is a theme file. So we can see here, it is found in vendor, Magento, theme front end blank, Etsy View XML. If you have your own front end theme, which we can come over here into app code, design, front end, SwiftOtter, Etsy, and we have a View XML file here as well. And in this one, looks like a lot of these sizes have been overridden because ultimately this takes precedence over the other fallbacks in this given theme. So right here, I'm actually painfully aware that a lot of my correct answers lately have been A. And we're not talking about the AAA vehicle service or towing service company. No, we're talking about questions to help enhance our knowledge. So A is probably not going to be the correct answer going forward unless I really want to screw with people. And then I'll make it A again and they're like, okay, well, what really is the right answer? But I shouldn't do that. All that to say is this immediately looks like the correct answer. We can take our image here and we can set a width and a height. We can override that, and then we can pull in those values later. Now, I'm going to show you how to pull it in, so keep listening. But either way, we need to talk about B and C because these are possibilities that, while not ideal, they still might be used, and we need to talk about what is involved with dealing with these or working with these. Are these really viable options? So let's look at B here. Override and change the sizing in the respective list.html templates. Now, if we come back over here to my computer, we have our list.html, and I'm pulling up just the root list.html template. There's nothing special about this. The question is, can we guarantee that every theme will have its own list.html file? And ultimately, if we come into here, and this is a matter of familiarizing ourselves with the template or the theme structure of Adobe Commerce, because as we look at this, we're going to see that there are specific sizes that, well, in this case, are baked in, but ultimately there is even a confusingly slight difference here because this is for the styling of the image, kind of. And this is for the actual raw sizing of the image, because Magento does downsample the image sizes. And ultimately, ideally, those match somewhat closely. I mean, you don't want like a 1500 by 1500 pixel image that is now being rendered on the browser as a 200 by 200, right? You want some close parity right there. And as such, changing this HTML template, I think, is a fairly bad idea, because this is one more point of, call it, friction that you have to work with. So if in the future something changes, the image size changes, you have to go into this template as opposed to one centralized place. Now, again, you could argue that, as we're seeing right here, there's a whole bunch of different image sizes, and maybe it's not really worth it. There is an argument to be made here, but my counter to that would be, the best practice is to centralize these into one place so that you know exactly where to find these different image sizes. We see part of the value of this up here in the template itself. So if we see this image display area is driven by the block mode. So if the mode is grid, our image display area is catalog, our category page grid, and we can copy this over into our blank theme front end, and we're going to go find it right here. We have it right here is listed. So this is a pretty clear case, because we don't have to have this 240, or I guess, well, there's the same size here, but we don't have to literally have that hard-coded in here, and it literally can be switched on, well, I'll call it on the fly, but like depending on the category layout, it can be kind of switched on the fly. So as you can see here, this is a really nice defense for this type of a best practice. So I don't think it's a good idea to override and change the sizing within the respective list.html files. Would it work? Yes, it would work. Is it good? No. Finally, create a new store configuration. Use lock-in beta force sizes per store view. What this is missing is that there's per store view really doesn't necessarily hack it, because you can implement design changes, right? You can have a design swap out at a given theme swap out at different times. So if we lock in if we lock sizing in to a particular store configuration, or i.e. to a store view, or even worse, a website or global, like we are not hard associating this over to the theme itself. But this is really a theme setting. This has nothing to do with store configuration. So at that point, that does not make sense either. So all that to say, we have a correct answer. That is answer A. Again, use the etsy.view.xml file. So yes, I will be doing my best not to be selecting A again. I don't know why. I guess I got in a little bit of a rut for selecting A. Now, I want to quickly run through how to fetch these values. And this is really critical, because this unlocks you to be able to use it anywhere in your code base. So let's take a look here. We're going to open up block get image. This is a type of abstract product block. We see the image builder create. We're going to come over into the image factory. We're still in the catalog, Magento catalog block product image builder. And then we're going to come into image factory create. And this is where things begin getting really interesting. So we have our presentation config right here, which is type of, there we go. There's the namespace. Magento framework view config interface. And what we can do with this, let me pop back over here, open this up. What we can do is we can get the view config, get media attributes, pass in the module name, and then we can get this this image. So we have our image ID right here. We're passing that in, and then we get the image information back. So this will help us to be able to configure how things work. The other thing is, I didn't specifically call this out earlier, but you might have also noticed this type attribute here. This type attribute does allow us to change this. So if we want to actually use the thumbnail role, image role, well, we can just change this type out. Super easy as well. So you have a lot of power, a lot of customization or configuration here. And I encourage you to make sure that you're using this on a regular basis. Don't take the shortcut of hard coding these image sizes in, but actually leverage the tools that Adobe Commerce gives you out of the box. There's your knowledge bite for this week.